Thank you so much for listening in. Now, we've all, it's been everywhere. It's been in the in the public domain. It's been in your face. You know, somebody came to me and asked me, Miriam, what do you know about KPC shares? Have you ever bought shares before? Is this something that you could advise me to get into it? And I said, you know what? I'm going to get somebody to break it down for you so that you understand more about it. So the Kenya Pipeline Company is Kenya's main petroleum transportation and storage company. It's operating the pipeline network that moves fuel from Mombasa inland. So it's historically, I'm giving you a bit of background, state-owned. It is in the process of being partly privatized, okay? Now, through a initial public offering, the government is selling a portion of the company's ownership to investors, meaning you can own shares and potentially earn dividends or trade them on the stock market. So, break it down. So, shares on offer are 11.81 billion ordinary shares, representing 65% of the company. The price per share is 9 shillings, okay? And the minimum purchase is 100 shares. The total valuation is estimated at 163 billion for the whole company based on the offer price. The government stake after LPO is at 35% retained. This LPO is one of the largest in Kenya's history. And here to break this down for us, so to help us understand this better, is none other than Larry Owiti. He is an advocate of the High Court. Larry, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine this morning.
Karibu sana kwenye show.
Yes, I'm welcome.
When we saw when we see this going on, what does a common Kenyan need to know? Like if an ordinary Kenyan buys, let's not buying Kwanzaa. Let's go back to when a state corporation like a Kenyan pipeline company offers shares to the public. What legally changes about that company?
First, what changes is the ownership.
Mm-hmm.
But giving context to it, as you stated, firstly, KPC is a state corporation, okay. Meaning presently it is fully owned by the government. Mm. What the government has done now, it is seeking to raise funds.
Okay.
And part of this raising funds, they decided to privatize some of these companies, which they fully own. Mm-hmm. The government decided to enact a new law, which is called the Privatization Act.
Yes.
It was enacted in October 2025.
Yeah.
This act allowed the state corporations now to enter into the stock market and sell part of their ownership through shares, as you've said.
Yeah.
This in turn raises funds from the public. The public come, they buy the shares from the company, they partly own these companies. Now you become a shareholder and a part owner. This is what changes from the previous structure, which was a state corporation, which was fully owned by the government,
yes,
100%. But with the new privatization, the government is selling 65% of its ownership to the public, and they're retaining the 35%. So basically, it's the ownership structure that changes, giving more power to the public now to control these entities like the KPC.
When the government sells 65% of the shares, isn't that like relinquishing a bigger chunk of its ownership?
Yes, it's relinquishing a bigger chunk of its ownership, but if you see the 65% is also fragmented in different aspects where the public only can take 20% of the 65%. There are foreign investors who are given 20% of these shares. We have the oil marketing companies like Vivo, the ones who deal with the oil transport business.
Or they also get?
Yes, they also get 15% of the shares. Then we have the KPC employees. Employees also get 5% of this shareholding. So if you see, it's basically 65% of the ownership, but this ownership has been fragmented in different sections. But the government's chunk of 35% is
so meaning the government is still the largest shareholder.
Yes, the government still retains the majority shareholding, yes. But now it only contains the majority, but subject to now rules from the public now, since the public are also part owners.
Okay.
Yes.
And so now bring us down to now the public when they say a share goes for 9 shillings. So let's say for those people who might have got into this process and saying, okay, fine. Like the lady who came to me and said, I'm seeing this, they're selling this share for 9 shilling. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
Miriam, ngoja kidogo before tuende hapo kwa mwananchi wa kawaida. Nimeona Uganda huko.
Yes.
They have sent their minister.
Yes.
Akuje now because tuko hapo kwa 65.
Foreign.
Watu wa huko. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
Uganda wana
manage
trade
20%.
wana trade na Kenya kuhusiana na mafuta.
Yes.
wow, Uganda now they've sent their minister kuja huku pia naye before deadline ni leo.
Yes,
Yes.
to the
24th.
Yes,
Yes.
before deadline ishe wa buy some shares. What does that mean?
Basically what that means, KPC is the majority pipeline distributor in East Africa.
Okay.
And this pipeline runs up to DRC Congo, meaning it passes through Uganda. So Uganda needs to have a stake and a control over this pipeline that passes through their country. That is why they've sent their minister, and if you see part of the share allocation, 20% was given to the East African community, part of the 65%. So 20% is what the minister is basically coming to buy today, part of that 20%, and this will give the Ugandan government control over this pipeline, in that they can send their minister there as a shareholder who will say, you cannot make this decision, or let us improve the pipeline moving from Uganda, let us change the system. So it gives them a bit of power.
So the 20%, and the 20% is not solely for the Ugandan government,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's now for you've said the East African community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the foreign investors or the East African community?
The foreign investors now fall under different category now on the 20%.
Okay.
If you are under the East African community, you're basically in the range of the EAC,
Okay.
as much as you're a foreign investor. Then now there's the because the regimes are different. If you are from an East African country, your purchase of shareholding is a bit relaxed because they treat you as neighbors. But if you are from a foreign country, let's say from Egypt, from France, they treat you differently now.
Okay.
Yes.
So when if an ordinary Kenyan buys even one share, okay, what legal rights do they gain immediately?
First, I would like to break it down to your first question on what is a share.
Exactly.
A company operates with capital. Let's say what you own is basically, so a heliport, let's say they own this room. Someone will have to undertake a valuation of how much this room costs, so that if someone is coming to buy the radio station, they are given a price. This is basically the share capital. As you've stated, it stands at about 163 billion currently for Kenya Pipeline. So this is what the company is worth. Now they find what we call, if they want to sell, they ask you, the shareholders have something called shares. If Swahili Port is worth 10 million and we have 10 people who own the company, it basically means every person owns a million.
Yes.
So a million is basically now the share base. And now your shares is basically 10. And for each shareholder, it will be one share.
Yes.
So that is how the breakdown is done, the company, the number of shares, and how many are you. So for each person, if you're going to buy a share at 9 shillings, that is the valuation of the company per share. So that if they're floating 11.8 billion shares, if you multiply it by the 9, you get the total value of the company.
Sure.
So that is how each person owns a part of that company through your share. As it stands, the minimum shares are 100 shares. So the minimum amount you can invest in KPC is 900.
How do you
900 shillings?
How do you put price to the valuation of a share? How did we come up with 9 shillings for that share?
That is a very good question, and is actually in the public domain, because how did we reach at the 9 shillings?
Yes.
There are 3 ways you can value a company. First is through cash flow. How much have you made from 2010 to 2026? How much cash flow has flown through? That is one way of valuing your company. The second way is the relative model, which is the comparison, where you do, if this radio station was sold for this price, then Swahili Port will most likely be sold at a similar price. So you compare the relative approach. The third method is the asset approach, the liquidation. If this company was to go under, how many assets can be sold? So basically looking at the microphones, the laptops, the tables, then you get a figure of how much the company is worth. So those are the 3 ways in which you can value a company. In this instance, Kenya Pipeline decided to use the relative model, which they looked at how international oil companies are valued. So they basically took from other different companies, Shell, BP, how much they're valued, and they basically imported that into the Kenyan market.
Okay.
People have reservations about it, but it's also a good valuation model.
That is the total. We're saying the total valuation of KPC is 163 billion.
Yes.
But now, what metric was used to divide mpaka tukasema share moja ni shilingi 9.
Yes, basically that's why you're saying they are comparing. It's the relative model. Let's say they looked at an American company. How much did this BP sell their shares? Let's say when Oilibia or Rubis came into Kenya,
Yes.
when they bought it from, let's say, National Oil, how much were they selling it at what?
Yeah.
So they use that same model and they directly import it into the sale of KPC. So it's basically they've used best practices. That's what I've said. They've looked at how other companies have sold their shares, and they've decided if they're selling at this price, then this is the price that we also have to sell.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So when I decide and then now, okay, fine, I've bought a share,
Yes.
and they say the minimum one can spend is like the minimum one can buy is 100 shares,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Which is at 900 shillings.
Yes.
So let's say I've gone to a point and I've spent 10,000,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
on this particular share on the KPC shares.
Yes.
Walk me through my gain. My gain through now now I own part of KPC.
Yes. That comes part of your legal rights as an investor
Okay.
in what we call dividends.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of each financial year, the company makes a profit. This profit is then valued, and then they determine how much is the profit per share. In your case, let's say you bought shares worth 9,000.
Mm-hmm.
As it stands, each share is at 9 shillings.
9 shillings.
So they basically bought 1,000 shares.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the financial year, Kenya Pipeline will have to sit and look at their books, and they say we've made 500 million. How much are we going to divide across our investors, basically our shareholders?
Yes.
Then they say each shareholder, let's give them 2 shillings, part of their share.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the year, you're going to get 2,000 shillings, which was, you have 1,000 shares, then
Mhm.
they've given you a dividend of 2,000 of 2 shillings. So you're basically getting 2,000 at the end of the year,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
like your profit. So that's your gain, but you've also maintained your control through
Okay.
your 1,000 shares. Then the shares also appreciate. At this
Mhm.
point, they're 9 shillings. Based on the performance of the company, it can double and become 18 shillings.
Yes.
So if you owned at that time, you bought it at 9,000
Mhm.
and you had basically the 1,000 shares,
Yeah.
and right now it's at 18, your profits now will double basically.
Mm.
So that
Mm.
is how you gain through the share appreciation in the market and through your dividends.
Yeah.
And when they appreciate, now you can sell your shares, and when you sell it, you'll sell it at a profit. You'll sell it at 18,000 and you bought it at 9,000, which you will have made a 9,000 profit.
That is if it appreciates.
Yes, if it appreciates.
Okay. On an instance where, let's say, okay, fine. So you're saying the dividend is pretty much at the end of the year. Does it mean
Yes.
that every single company, the dividends come at the end of the year? Are there companies that do
Yes.
maybe after 6 months?
Yes. It depends on how the company operates.
Okay.
Some companies share their profits annually, which
Yes.
is twice a year. Others try in every 3 months or 4 months. It depends on the company structure. But best practices is normally at the end of the year, because at the end of the year, you've done your accounting. You've basically known how much profit you've made.
Yeah.
And it's also good for practice at the end of the year in terms of paying your employee bonuses, because employees also own part of their shares.
Yeah.
So in terms of also paying bonuses, you include the dividends in there.
Okay.
So it's easier.
So for somebody, so let's say I've already bought this. Maybe I bought 1,000 shares,
Yes.
and moving forward, I also, I'm lucky and I get some money, and
Yes.
so I want to buy more. Can I buy more shares?
Yes, you can buy more shares.
Okay. And if I'm buying more shares, and the people who always say, how do you call it? The business is going down. It's tanking.
Yes.
And you find that people sell when they have maybe insider information.
Yes.
Right? How do I ensure that I don't lose?
How do you ensure that you don't lose your?
Yeah, I'm like this is like a very basic. I'm my knowledge of shares is
Yes.
not as I don't have insider information. I know very little when it comes to finances.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, okay, KPC is selling, right?
Yes.
And there's hype around it, so I want to buy.
Yes.
And maybe somebody else has put 50,000 or even 100,000 in it.
Yes.
How do I know that this is safe?
The market is regulated.
Okay.
We have a regulator called the Capital Markets Authority,
Yes.
who you can always approach, let's say in instances of insider trading, or you feel that something is going wrong with the company.
Mhm.
And that is a very key aspect now with the change of ownership. previously when KPC was owned by the government, CMA had no regulatory control. But now coming with the public, CMA acts to protect the public in these instances. Then also the deposits, let's say from the company, are also insured by the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation. So there's the insurance aspect to protect your shares. Then there's also the aspect of the regulator, who now comes in as CMA, where you go to CMA and tell them the company is going under, and there's this insider trading that is going on or is possibly going on, and CMA will step in to the company not to issue sanctions or things like those. If it's also going under, CMA takes it as a going concern. It brings all shareholders together. You'll be invited to a meeting where you can also discuss your concerns. Why is your company going under? Is it because of this, and this? And you being a shareholder makes you an owner. So there are decisions you'll have to make, but the regulator will guide you. So let's say if it's we are liquidating the company, there's nothing we can do to save it. How much are we going to sell it so that we don't lose our investment? So such meetings are held. But CMA basically acts to protect the public, the Capital Markets Authority.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then since I'm also buying shares in KPC,
Yes.
do I have access to financial reports?
Yes.
Okay.
That is one right which you gain now by being a shareholder. You can ask for those reports anytime. But they are normally released at every 3 months. They are normally called the financial reports. But being a shareholder, you can request for it anytime because you are also an owner of the company.
Okay.
Yes.
Ukiacha hiyo haki ya kwamba unafaa kupata hizo financial reports information, ni haki gani nyingine ambayo kwamba mimi kama mwekezaji ama mwanahisa na nafaa kutambua na nafaa kuwa nazo now that mimi ni mmoja wa wamiliki wa hiyo?
Ya kwanza tunaweza sema haki ya kupiga kura, voting rights.
Okay.
Because these directors will basically own the company. So uko na haki ya kuleta mwenzako, umwambie kuwa nataka usimame kama director kwa hii kampuni ya KPC. Utamleta na mtafute kura zake. Mkimpigia kura ya shinda atawekwa kama director. So kuna hiyo voting right. Alafu kuna ile right ya dividend ya kulipwa. Kuna watu ambao wajui hata kampuni ikienda chini, even if it's making a loss, you still have a right to a dividend. They call it spreading the loss. They'll spread the loss, but bado utapata. So kuna hiyo right ya kupiga kura na hiyo right ya dividend, na hiyo haki pia ya information ya kuwa unaweza ingia wakati wowote na useme nataka kujua kampuni inaendelea aje, mmetengeneza ngapi na hivi.
Okay. Now umetaja hapo kwenye haki ya kupiga kura. Ni kuna kiwango cha hizo hisa ambazo kinaweza kufanya ukawa na usemi kwenye shirika, ama as long as uko na shares, tuseme umenunua za 100 ambao ni 900, right? 900. Kuna kiwango kwamba ukifika fulani ndio utakuwa na kura ya turufu, ama kila mtu mwenye amenunua shares anafaa?
Hiyo sasa tunaita ina depend na company structure yenu ya voting rights. Kuna wale wanasema vote shareholding yako ndo nguvu ya vote yako. Tuseme yule ako na 9000 shares, wanahesabu kama votes, wanahesabu kama wewe umepiga 9000 votes. Hivyo ndio inahesabiwa. Na kuna wale wanahesabu for small shareholders, wanahesabu kama moja. Watasema tu tuseme sisi ni directors 10. Tukipiga kura hakuna haja tuweke yako 9000 yangu 18, tutaweka tu moja. Hiyo ni rahisi wakiwa kidogo, lakini wakiwa wengi kura yako itaenda na namba ya shareholding yako ndo nguvu. Sasa ndio maana unaona serikali wakibaki na ile 35%, mnaweza amua huku chini, lakini bado nguvu yao wametaka kubaki nao kidogo kwa hiyo 35%, kwa sababu nguvu ya kura wanaweza sema hata tuweke mtu wetu hapo director.
Yeah. Well, we are speaking to Larry Owiti, is an advocate of the High Court, and of course we're looking at KPC shares. What you need to know legally. What's your question? 0700917917 is my WhatsApp number. Let's hear from you. Good morning.
Morning, Breakfast Club. There was a bit of concern by the government about this low participation by ordinary Kenyans in buying the IPOs, with a lot of speculation around the valuation, and especially with the fact that they feel that it's been overvalued. What's going on? What's the situation there? Is it a call for concern?
Larry, what's the situation?
The situation right now, I can actually acknowledge that there's a concern. There was a case yesterday in court. Okia Mtata went to court, but he was not given any orders. He claims that these shares were greatly undervalued. The government, as I've explained, they used the relative valuation model.
Yeah.
You don't have to force someone to use a valuation model, but it is accepted. Part of it comes from our skepticism of the government. The public does not trust government a lot. Then also, how are these funds that are raised going to be used? Are they really going into the company, or they are going to settle government debt? Because once they're raised, they go to the consolidated fund, which is the government's wallet. So people are basically worried, are we putting funds into a company, or are we putting funds to settle a debt? So that's where the concern comes from. But in terms of the valuation model is correct. We cannot fault it. It is accepted internationally. The relative valuation model which they used, though people have different opinions, the same was subjected to public participation. Parliament sat, they had the views of the public, and they settled on the relative model. So as much as there's a lot of skepticism, but it's before court, and the court had it yesterday and declined to issue any orders preventing the sale.
Where is the laxity with Kenyans coming from?
Skepticism, I believe, from the government. And then also there's not been a lot of information which has been relayed to the public concerning this sale. It's mostly been a lot of, let's say, sensitization on the process itself has not been well done. So people are basically moving in a limbo. Then concerning also the court cases, there are a lot of court cases on this issue. And when people hear it involves a court case, they tend to hold back and wait until the court has declared itself on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's get into the process of someone acquiring these shares.
Yes.
Coincidentally, the KPC IPO happened at the same time when Safaricom was launching the ZD Trader.
Yes.
And there's also HISA.
Yes.
So basically, for someone who has not navigated this space, how does someone set themselves up to be able to buy shares, not just for KPC, but for any company that is publicly listed in the NSE?
There are two ways you can purchase shares. Firstly, is through something we call a CDC.
Okay.
A Central Depository Security Account. It's normally the CDSC. This CDSC, it's a unique number. You get a unique number which enters you to the stock market as a trader, basically the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Once you get a CDC number, you deposit money into your CDSC account.
Yes.
When you deposit money into your CDSC account, you use it the way you please. You buy shares, you can sell shares. That is where your dividends are sent, and you can make profit through it. The second way, the government has decided to make it easy for the purchase of these KPC shares. They've noticed the process of making a CDSC is a bit tedious, though it has been made simpler. You've noted the apps. There's the HISA app, the ZD Trader, which try to ease in this process, but there's still some technological advancement which the Kenyan citizens don't know. So they use the short USSD. I believe it is *483 *816 hash. Okay. In that way, you buy shares using your M-Pesa account, then the government is the one which opens for you a CDSC account.
Okay.
So the government basically undertakes the opening process. All you have to do is just deposit. But that is specifically for the KPC model. For the other models, you'll have to open your CDSC account, deposit money there, and start trading in shares.
I bought some shares in the recent past.
Yes.
Actually, long time ago, like 2 years ago, using the HISA app. But then you find that you're buying through an app, and then the next time you either want to look to buy more or to check the update on the app, you find that the app is tweaking. It's hanging. It has so many challenges, and you cannot even trace back. So for a method that is new to the market, how do you go about it, considering that you don't know how to follow up, considering the person who is enabling you to facilitate this, their platform itself, haifanyi kazi? Unafeel kama umepoteza pesa.
That's the way I say there are two aspects to it. Now, when you say the app is misbehaving, what you're doing is the app is the one which has the CDSC account.
Yes.
So the app is trading on your behalf.
Okay.
So you're basically giving the app the funds, then the one of the app is the one who's trading on your behalf.
Yes.
So you have very little control of your funds.
Mm-hmm.
This is different from going directly to the CBK, the central bank. If you go to their website, you can open a CDSE account in minutes. So when you open an account with the central bank, you are trading directly.
Okay.
There's no intermediary, there's no app. So when people, it is the apps have to market themselves, like the Zidisha app by Safaricom, but it's basically you're using Safaricom CDSE account.
Okay.
So
Yes.
they're trading on your behalf.
Yes, they're
When you would
trading on your behalf,
you
yes.
would rather have your own CDSE
directly,
account.
Yes. So that's where the difference comes in.
What about now? I have an M-Pesa number, so that means I have ZD. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, I have HISA.
Yes.
So this means I'm trading with two different entities.
Accounts. Yes.
How can I consolidate? It means that my wealth is spread out.
Your wealth is spread out. You can consolidate it by going to CBK. You can just tell them the way the Disha app works is your phone number is your CDSE account number.
Okay.
So that is how they've used it, but it's basically an intermediary.
Yeah.
So if you want to consolidate them, you have to go to the central bank. The central bank is the holder of all shares now, the CDSE.
Yeah.
So you go to them and tell them, I have 2 CDSE accounts. I would like to consolidate them, and they'll consolidate them and give you a new CDSE number.
As they consolidate, will they have to now reach out to the different apps that have registered?
Yes. They'll have to reach out to them because they are the holder of your funds now.
Okay.
So that they can bring them back, then they consolidate them and give you a new CDSE account number.
Yeah.
So meaning when they consolidate, so he's giving up the other apps.
Yes, he's giving up the other apps and is now coming to trade directly.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a question here. Ma, good morning. Ma says, to my understanding, the company has proposed reducing its dividend payout ratio in order to accommodate expansion projects. Are investors losing guaranteed cash today for future profits that are uncertain? And is that trade of actual worth? Is that trade-off actually worth it? Yeah.
It's actually worth it.
Yeah.
If you look at, as she has rightly said, the part of the profit is being used for an infrastructure project. This infrastructure project is likely to bring returns. And if you look at the nature of KPC, it's pipeline transportation. So if they're using, let's say, to open a new jetty or to open a new refinery, it is basically to maximize profit. So we can basically reduce our dividend ratio for this year. If I was to get 2 shillings, let's say per dividend, I take 50 cents. For this period, noting that now in the next financial year I might get 5 shillings now per dividend. So it's basically a sacrifice for the future, hoping that it's a risk taking. Yes, you take the risk hoping that my investment that I put right now will bring much profit later. Yes.
Okay, another question is, to what extent is the KPC IPO motivated by the government's need for immediate fiscal revenue rather than by genuine efficiency gains or capital needs of the company? And does using a strategic infrastructure asset to plug budget gaps risks undermining long-term economic value for short-term fiscal relief?
I agree. Indeed, using the government assets to settle its other fiscal objectives, and that is part of where the skepticism comes from. People are not sure how these funds, that am I investing funds or am I basically settling a debt? The government has not come clean on that. They intend to set up an infrastructure fund. They call it an infrastructure fund. But the same was halted by court, so they are waiting to know. So as it stands, your funds are going to the consolidated fund. And as I called it, it's the government's wallet. So your funds basically can be used to settle a loan to a Chinese bank. Your funds can be used differently. Yes, but now coming in of the new shareholders, now you'll also have a right. Now is when you'll know how your funds are being used, basically.
Okay.
Yes.
If I buy shares, right, and let's say we were talking about 1,000 shares, that's a figure we gave. So I bought 1,000 shares.
You're not 9,000.
At 9,000, right?
Yes.
So meaning I'm part of a shareholder with KPC, and I still don't want to sell.
Yes.
So that means I want to stay longer. So is my big gain just the dividends?
Your gain will be the appreciation of your shares.
Okay.
It will never be at
So my shares keep appreciating. It's never at 1,000.
Yes. It will be, let's say it will now improve, let's say to 18 shillings as I told you. It might improve. Now you'll get 2,000 shares.
Yes.
By using that model. So your shares will have appreciated. You'll just maintain them in future. Your share, let's say now you'll have 10,000 shares and you decide
you want to sell.
It's been years now, I want to sell, and it will be really good profit.
What's the process of selling a share?
It's the same process using your CDSC account. You trade in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. They normally list the buying price and the selling price. You just enter through your CDSC account. You say, I own shares at KPC. Today they are selling at 17 shillings. So you basically just prompt the app, today I'm selling my shares. It will go to the CDSC and the central bank will send you your funds.
Oh, basically. That's interesting.
Yes, they send it directly. Nowadays, they've allowed you can do M-Pesa deposits and withdrawals. So the money...
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, it takes about 3 business days for some years. In 3 business days, you'll have your money.
Okay.
Yes.
Larry, now KPC is here, and of course this is because it's been in public domain, right?
Yes.
For a Kenyan who's also thinking about, fine, I want to get into, I want to invest, right? I want to buy shares. How do I know the right companies to invest in, or rather to buy shares from?
Knowing the right companies, it also takes a bit of your diligence.
Okay.
You'll have to sit down and look at the stock market. We normally call it the stock market. The stock reports daily at the newspaper.
Yeah.
So you basically sit and look at the prices. Safaricom yesterday was trading at 15.28. Today they are trading at 16. So you are basically looking at the projections and you are seeing this company is growing up. It's growing. You can also see how a company is falling by the reduction of their share prices. Let's say like Uchumi. There was a time Uchumi was very profitable and people bought it at, let's say, 10 shillings per share.
Yeah.
But right now it comes to 2 shillings per share.
Oh.
So you can also see the loss aspect, which will also incur in that regard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mimi niko na swali because ulivyoanza umesema kwamba serikali inauza sehemu ya shares zake na pengine hapo ndipo kuko na mashaka na sehemu kubwa ya watu story ya privatization na kila kitu. Swali langu linakuja hapa, nitajuaje kwamba hii kampuni haitaburuzika, yani haitaanguka? Kuna kitu sijui kinaitwa certificate of good standing. How would I know that?
Ndio sasa wanasema as an owner utaitisha hizo financial reports. Kuna ile inaitwanga balance sheet na statement of profit and loss. Hizo ni accounting terms. So kuna hiyo statement wa inatoka, unaangalia inaandika profit, expenses za kampuni ni hivi na hivi. Ndio maana wanasema ukiwa sasa shareholder lazima pia ukue unataka kujua information kwa kampuni. Kampuni ni yako sasa. You've decided to take part of ownership by buying the shares. So usikue ule owner ambaye unanunua na unaketi nyuma. You are basically an owner now of KPC. Uko na ile haki ya kuenda kuuliza mbona mnauza hii kwa hii bei, na mbona msifanye hivi na hivi. Na una haki ya kuita meeting, useme nataka kuita mkutano tuongelee kuwa hii share wana devalue kitu kama hiyo. So haki zako zipo kama owner na unafaa kuchukua hizo haki kikamilifu as an owner. Bado uko na haki kama ile ya serikali. Serikali ni owner na hata wewe pia ni owner. Pale mtatofautiana ni kura. Hapo. Kura ndio mtatofautiana.
So you have to be present.
You have to be present and active as an owner. You have to own it basically. That's why they are selling it to the public. Ndio pia the public wakuwe na ile right ya kumanage. KPC kianguka hata nyinyi mbaki na lawama. Kuwa mliona ikianguka na mkawacha ikaanguka.
Sikwe shares zangu. Tupatie pesa zetu.
Tuambiwa kama ona we niona na tujaitisha financial statement. Hiyo sasa.
Na pia hizo mkutano
it's very important to attend. Huko ndio mnapiga kura katika hizo mkutano. So it's important. Then now the regime kuna kitu inaitwa proxies. Unaweza andika tu useme Miriam ataenda kunipigia kura. Kama wewe utakuwa una sign tu kuwa Miriam atapiga kura kwa niaba yangu. So inaonyesha bado uko na ile nia ya kuona hiyo kampuni sana.
Yeah. Yes. Larry, before buying IPO shares, what legal documents should every Kenyan read, and what should they look out for?
The best document to read is the prospectus.
Okay.
There's a document called a prospectus. Kama hiyo ya KPC, they basically release it it's a document showing the entire transaction. Tulianzia hapa, hii ndio capital yetu, hii ndio asset yetu, mbona tunauza hivi, this is the amount we intend to raise, this is how we will use it. So kuna hiyo document wanatoangi inaitwa prospectus ya share. It's a very big document, but you have to read it through.
Yeah.
Ya pili sasa hapo ndio kuna tashwishi kidogo, lakini you have to know your company law. Ile company laws, basically we have the Companies Act na the Capital Markets Authority pia. So you have to know how these act. As a shareholder, I have voting rights, I have a right to dividend, and I have a right to information. So you also have to, let's say, talk to a lawyer or just know your rights through. Nowadays we have models, unaweza uliza haki zangu hapa ni hivi na utaweza kusaidika.
Yeah. All right. And then also, what is the biggest legal mistake that first-time investors make?
Expectations and failing to read the financial books. Failing to read sometimes people don't know why a company is on sale.
Oh.
So sometimes it's going under and someone is like, I better sell this
Yes.
hurriedly before anyone knows that in the next 3 months this asset is going to, let's say you have a refinery and your KPC and the land does not belong to you, and you already know there's a judgment coming is going to take that land away.
Yes.
So you are in a hurry to sell your shares as if that land is still existing, knowing after 3 months this land is gone. So that is where people make mistakes of not reading books. If you fail to read the company books, you can even see where money has been lost. Unaangalia unasema, there's a day we made a payout of 500 million to the directors as salary. Unaambiwa ilikuwa discussed kwa meeting, watu wakapiga kura na wakakubali. Yet you didn't know anything. Yet it's your money, then it's gone to waste. 500 million imepotea hivyo. So that is a mistake a lot of investors make.
Yeah.
Because the public, how do I say it? The public euphoria. Mtaambiwa kila mtu ingia, nunua. Then expectation is, let's say you're buying at 9 shillings, the projections are like it will improve by 7% every year.
Yeah.
So you are going with that expectation, then the loss comes in and it's hard to take loss. When you are now told, let's share this loss, it becomes hard for a lot of investors.
In a nutshell, we need to do a due diligence.
Yes, basically.
Si kama quill. Ile quill business ulingia.
I think most people take shares as trading. I basically buy shares, then I leave them there.
Yes.
But you have buying shares means you want to own the company. And that is where the starting point is. Do I really want to own a company? An example is people who wanasemanga kama wale wanapenda sherehe. It's good to buy shares from EABL so that when they send you dividends, una spend basically pesa yako yenye kampuni imekulipa.
Yes.
Then you'll also tend to buy from EABL ndio.
Yeah.
You increase.
At the end of the year you get your dividend from EABL.
Yeah.
Is buyouts and hostile takeovers possibility for these especially these parastatals that are being privatized?
Yes, upon privatization now the regime changes. They now move from the State Corporations Act, they now move to the Companies Act.
Yeah.
So by moving to the Companies Act, there's also a lot of exposure you've given yourself to takeovers. There's also that fear people have, because let's say an investor can come and say your shares are 9 shillings and I'm buying all of your shares for 20 shillings. How many of the shareholders do you think will waste time?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yes.
They will basically move towards the new investor and tell him, okay, buy mine at 20 shillings, then I give you the entire company. So it's possible for a takeover.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Larry, for making time.
Yes.
Very informative.
Yeah.
We've been speaking to Larry Otieno. He's an advocate of the High Court, and of course, what you need to know about KPC shares and pretty much everything shares. In a bit, next, we're going to have Muhammad Luai. I hope I pronounced his name right. Muhammad Luai. He is a stock trader, and you've said shares is a bit different from trading.
Yes.
Yes.
There are two models. There are those who trade daily and there
Yes.
are those who buy to invest. Trading daily is basically the people who sit with the newspapers and who follow the stock markets. They basically put 10,000, let's say today, at Safaricom at 15 shillings. we hope that tomorrow it gets to 16. If it gets to 16, there's a profit he makes today, he sells it and buys another. So there are those people intraday trading. We'd call it day trading.
All right.
Day
I think we have
Yes.
Muhammad. He's going to share that information in a bit. We'll be right back. Thank you for making time, Larry.
You're welcome.
All right.
Pay attention.